Hello and welcome to the Kerry Sleep Show, a podcast for tired parents who are searching for a bit more sleep the caring way. I'm your host, Kerry Secker, infant sleep consultant, founder of my unique sleep approach, Kerry Out, and your caring sleep supporter. I really hope you'll join me on my mission to get Smalls a settled night's sleep without the tears, training or techniques. I love talking about sleep and I can't wait to share my sleep subjects with you. My approach to getting you more sleep is simple, straightforward, but above all, it's got to make sense and feel best for you. Ready to get more sleep? Then let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Kerry Out Sleep Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are listening to your host, Kerry Secker. And in this show, I am going to be talking about one of my favourite sleep subjects, the fourth trimester. So if you haven't heard of the fourth trimester, the first 3 months, all it is the first 3 months of your brand new baby's life. Lots of people often refer to the first 3 months post-birth as the fourth trimester because your little one is still behaving like they're in the womb. They haven't yet realised that there's life outside the womb yet. And this is because life in the womb and life post-birth is completely different. So the first 3 months, it's just a massive period of adjustment for you both. When you give birth to your baby, you also give birth to you, the mother and the parents. But also it's a massive adjustment for your baby as well because life is so very different. So let's have a look at life inside the womb first. So whilst your baby was in your womb was the optimum environment for your little one. They could eat when they wanted to, take nourishment from the placenta when they wanted to, they could wee when they wanted to, they could sleep when they wanted to. And it was also very dark, it was very wet, they were in the nude in their birthday suits. It's very noisy in there. It's crazy to imagine just how noisy it is when they're in the womb, but they constantly can hear your heartbeat and the blood swishing around, and that is, experts believe that to be about as loud as about a lawnmower. And that blows my mind because we've got this little baby lawnmower in our tummies, but we can't hear it on the outside. And I also think I just mentioned as well that I don't think I did. The other thing is that during the day, as you walk around, you would soothe them off, so they had constant movement during the day as well, and at night it was calm and quiet. So life was very, very different in the womb. Then post-birth, and they don't get any notice, there's no eviction notice that birth is about to happen, just one day contractions start. Body knows exactly and knows what it needs to do, but baby doesn't always get that memo. And then they go through birth, and then life post-birth is very different from their womb life. And post-birth, it is light, bright, they're not naked, they're not wet, they're not swimming around in their birthday suit. The movement can stop. The noise is different. Like post-birth, it is quite noisy still because like life and everyday life. But it's a different kind of noise. In womb, it was loud, but it was quite muffled. But outside the womb, it's very clear. And then we've also got that then we're trying to get them to nap and get them more and sleep and onto our sleep schedule that day and night. So life, as you can see now, I hope that gives you a bit more understanding of what life is like inside the womb and outside the womb if you didn't already know. And it's very, very different. And there's lots and lots of pressure to get your little one, brand new baby, straight out, fresh new baby, and try and get that routine, the nap routine set up, the bedtime routine set up, and also getting them to sleep the best of their ability. And trust me, I want that for you too, which is why I'm so passionate about what I do. But there's no getting around that being a new parent, or maybe for some while, that sleepless nights are part of that package. But I am hopefully going to go through some really useful and reassuring suggestions for you that could really help you and your brand new baby during the fourth trimester. I like to call it fourth trimester talk. So let's start off with going through how your baby's behaving in the first 3 months. So change is strange. As humans, we really don't like change, or change puts us on high alert because it can impact our survival, and also it feels unfamiliar. And this is probably one of the biggest changes you and your small will go through is post-birth. It's a very, very important period of your parenting journey, and it's natural that you want to get your little one on that nap routine and get that sleep set up. And like I mentioned before, I really want that for you too. But the first 3 months, it's such a massive period of change for them that all we're really looking for in the first 3 months, I keep saying 4 months, in the first 3 months, is that you're getting to know your baby, because every baby is born with their own personality. Hard to imagine that, but they are. Getting to know your baby. Feeding is getting established. However you're feeding, I'm not anti anything, I'm pro everything. Your baby, your choice. So however you're feeding, that is getting set up, and you're also getting to bond with your baby. And it's natural that their behaviour, I think I might have lost myself there for a bit, I've come back to behaviour now, always do get there. But your baby in the first 3 months, because it's such a massive change, they can be very, very unsettled. So the key to supporting them in the 4th trimester is, I call it womb service. I do love a pun. And womb service, all I mean by womb service is that we are mimicking the womb for them. We are, and also those other things that are going on for them. So we're mimicking the womb for them to help them feel settled, help remind them of being in the womb, helps them feel familiar, it helps them feel settled. But we're also getting feeding established, bonding with your baby and getting to know each other. So as hard as it is, I would try, and it's so hard, but try to give that the pressure to get them to sleep, the push for the first 3 months. And actually, let's talk a little bit about how they're sleeping at this stage as well, because I don't believe in bad habits. Rod's around bad habits at any age, but the first 3 months is even more special for this. I call it the 3-month free-for-all. That's such a mouthful. And this is because trying to get those naps set up and getting them to that settled night's sleep in the first 3 months can be really tricky, because every baby is born naturally nocturnal, and these are things that they don't tell you. Every baby out there is born naturally nocturnal. You are not doing anything wrong. Your baby is not broken if they want to nap all day and they want to party all night. And again, this comes back to womb life, paying them womb service, because during the day, as you would walk and march around, I don't know many pregnant women that would march around, your movements as you went about your day would soothe and rock your baby. That's why so many newborn babies love the rocking, because mimics this womb service. It reminds them of being in the womb, and then when you stand still, it unsettles them a little bit. And then at night time, when it was calm and quiet, this is when your little one would come out. They would take nourishment from the placenta, and they would just hang out as nice and calm and quiet. And also from a survival perspective, or an evolution perspective, which a lot of my approach is based on, is a lot of mammals will feed and tend to their babies at night time, because it's dark, less predators around, and there's more chance of survival. And as humans, that is what we are primed to do, is survive every day. It's really basic when you put it like that, isn't it? But as humans, that is what we are here to do every day, is survive. And your baby, the only part of your baby's brain that is fully developed when they're born is called the lizard brain, and this is the brain that is prepped for survival. And this is responsible for fight and flight response and breathing, because without that we can't survive. And humans, the human body astounds me, but that is what we're prepped to do. We are born to survive, and a lot of in fact pretty much all of the behaviour is linked to, or what I see day to day in my practice, and when I'm talking about sleep, it almost always comes back to that drive to survive. It absolutely fascinates me. So yeah, well, I've lost myself again here. I've got so much to share. Sometimes I just get a bit too impatient, so you're going to have to bear with me. Oh yeah, I was going on about how that all newborn babies are born naturally nocturnal. There's not a newborn baby out there that isn't naturally nocturnal. But the good news is, again, babies, when we go with them, they know what to do around as they come out of the 4th trimester, anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks. That's when they've kind of sussed night and day. And there's also, I'm going to go through some really practical suggestions that can also help your little one suss that out a little bit sooner as well. So as hard as it is, and you might not want to hear this, completely natural that your newborn is nocturnal. There's so much out there. Get them into a routine, get them sleeping well at night time, but that's really tricky. My whole approach is that when we go with them, everything in life is just that little bit easier, because trying to shoehorn a naturally nocturnal newborn baby into a nap routine, that can often be more frustrating than just going, right, actually I'm just going to get to know, bond, feed my baby at this stage, and then when they're out of the 4th trimester, when everything gets a little bit easier, then you can start to start your naps off, and that sleep can come. And at this age as well, sleep cycles are very, very immature. It's one type of sleep. It's deep, even though your little one isn't giving you that impression. They're not cycling between sleep yet. That doesn't come until 4 months. And I'm going to do another show on the 4-month regression, because I think that would be really super helpful. And their circadian rhythm, aka their sleep system, this hasn't kicked in yet either. That takes quite a while. That's not kicked in until 6 months, between 6.5 and 7 months. So they have very little melatonin in their system at this age as well. They get a lot from you and cues, but yeah, the sleep at this stage, circadian rhythm, sleep system, sleep cycling, it's very, very immature, which actually, when we think about it sensibly and logically, that's expected to be of a newborn baby. Everything in life takes a little bit of time to get there, but 9 times out of 10 they do, and some might need a little bit of nudge, and I'm really hoping the sleep shows will help with that. So I hope you found that interesting as well, just knowing a little bit about how your little one is sleeping, what's to be expected, and now I can get on to the really exciting part, what you can do to support your small sleep in the first 3 months. So my first suggestion would be to help your little one to understand the difference between day and night. Most babies will do this naturally, as I think I mentioned before. By 10, 12 weeks, most babies will have naturally sussed it themselves, because they know what they're doing. They might not be giving them that impression, it might not feel like it, but they definitely know what they're doing. But things you could help in the meantime to help them learn the difference, or kind of suss out night and day and get more onto our time zone, is that during the day, try to keep the curtains open. Summer babies are so much easier for this. Open the curtains, windows open, whenever you're ready. There's no pressure, but exposing them to natural light by a window or getting out and about when you're ready can help massively. Exposing them to natural light can really help kick in the melatonin, the circadian rhythm, or it helps support their circadian rhythm because it's immature at this age. And the other one during the day is it's very tempting to tiptoe and shh, baby's asleep, and to tiptoe around them. But remember, the noise, the womb was a very noisy place. So lots of babies really, really like that noise of everyday life, because they remember it from the womb. So please don't feel that you've got to tiptoe around them. They actually like it. And then keep feeds chatty during the day, keep it really sociable. Some families like to go a step further. I'm not sure whether this actually works, but I'm up for anything. But actually having day clothes and night clothes, some families prefer to do that. Helps just some feel that really helps their little one to know the difference between day and night. I'm not sure, the jury's out with me on that one, but some have said that that's very helpful, so hopefully it might be helpful to one of you. And then the other one is that at night time, so at night time it's natural that they're going to be a little bit nocturnal for the first few weeks. And this is completely natural but knackering. And what we want to try to do is the opposite of what we're doing in the day. So during the day, we're keeping it light, bright, chatty, noisy, trying to give them the impression that it's daytime, that life is happening, help them establish the night and day. And at night time, my whole approach is, if they're asking for support, they're emotionally uneasy, they're crying, we go to them every single time. We never need to not meet their needs if they're asking for it, day or night. So meeting their needs at night time is not spoiling them, it's not the wrong thing to do, you're not stopping them from waking up at night time, none of that bed baloney. But if we're meeting their needs at night time, we want to try and give them the impression that it's night time. So keep it dark if you can, hush tones, so I don't know any of us that want to be all singing and all dancing mummy and daddy in the middle of the night. Keep it calm and quiet. Try to avoid eye contact. Is absolutely fine. I'm a massive fan of eye contact. Builds attachment, builds trust. I don't buy into this. Don't make eye contact with them at night time, but I would try to avoid too much stimulation. And all I mean by that is like taking them out of the bedroom or the sleeping area, loads of singing and loads of playing games. That's all I mean by that. And by doing those things, the other thing I nearly forgot, I told you I've got loads of things to share, nappy changing. It's natural to want to change your nappy, to think, oh gosh, they're weeing, then their nappy's wet, and that's going to wake them up. And that is a very valid can be a reason why they wake up, but nappies these days are very good at wicking away the wee. And my suggestion with changing the nappies, there's two things. One, I'd only change the nappy if it doesn't need changing every single feed, unless your baby's got nappy rash or they're a bit sensitive. I would only change the nappy if it was absolutely bulging or I could see it was visibly wet, and I would do it before the feed rather than afterwards if you can. And again, try and do it quickly, in the dark as possible. You need like a little head torch, and that can help massively. And doing these things for the day and night, that can really help your small get onto that day and night schedule, more onto our schedule. And as I said, most babies, you can do these things if you find them helpful, but most babies by 10 to 12 weeks, they've figured it out. I completely lost my train of thought. They've completely figured out the day and night for themselves. So second one is this is so much easier said than done, but try not to worry too much about naps. Mentioned it before, but trying to shoehorn them onto a nap schedule during the day when all they want to do is sleep, because naturally nocturnal, that can be more frustrating than just going with them. So at this stage, as long as you are doing those things I've just mentioned before, like keeping it light where you can, curtains open, keeping it chatty where you can, I would just let your baby sleep during the day, because it's completely natural. What you might want to do is and some parents find it very useful just to keep a note of their sleepy times and their wake times. I don't ask families when I'm working with them to keep a note of things like this, either during the day or at night time, because I've actually found clock watching and obsessed about, I call it the duvet data, getting obsessed over the duvet data. That isn't always helpful or healthy, but some parents really find it useful. And actually, this is one time it is quite useful. Just start to have a little notebook or your phone, I'm so old fashioned, modern day, in your phone, and just start to note down the times when they're awake and the times when they are sleeping during the day. And as you get older, you can start then to base your naps, your nap gaps on that. So yeah, it's so hard, so much easier said than done, but try not to worry too much about setting up the naps and go with them. And definitely at this age, it comes back to the 3-month free-for-all. Please don't feel that you've got to naps count anywhere. They don't have to be in a cot to count. A sling at this age, I'm going to see whether I can get a sling consultant to come on here and talk about this in more detail for you, because I think it's so useful. But a sling can save you sleep and your sanity in the first 3 months, because baby is getting what they need close to you. because they haven't realised they're separate from you yet, hence the 4th trimester. They're in the sling, they can hear your heartbeat, they can hear your breathing, but you've also got 2 hands and you can walk around and do things if you so wish, so that can help as well. And then just make a note of the nap times or the sleepy times, and then gradually, as they again get past the 4th trimester, around 10 to 12 weeks, you can then start off your nap gaps, or you can start to work on the sleep patterns that they're already doing, like build on that. And if you haven't heard of nap gaps, I'm not going to go into it in too much detail now because I want to concentrate on the 4th trimester, but nap gaps are just what I use as a guide, as some simple structure for your little one's naps. And I don't recommend putting my nap gaps in place until, surprise surprise, 10 to 12 weeks, once they're out of the 4th trimester. But what I will do, because some might find it really useful, is that I'll put my free video in the show notes, and I'll put it in the show notes, you sign up to it, you get the email, it's like a 30-minute video, I think, and it goes through all my nap gaps, when to start off the nap gaps, and the nap gaps by age and stage. And you might find that useful listening for when your little one gets there, because there might be some listeners listening with older babies. So yeah, those, I promise you, it doesn't feel like it at the time, but those naps will come. And as I said before, trying to shoehorn them onto that nap schedule when they're trying to sleep all day, that often, I see it all the time, is often more frustrating than just going with them. So I hope that was helpful. Third, I've just realised I've not numbered them. It's just I've been reading my notes here because I can't remember all the things I want to say. The next thing I just want to mention is white noise. Now, white noise is amazing for sleep, definitely, and it's also good for settling your baby as well. So in the 4th trimester, it's quite natural that your baby might be unsettled, cry and fuss quite a lot. Again, this is completely natural. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, and they're certainly not manipulating you. If you put your baby down, they cry, and then you pick them up and they stop. This isn't manipulation. Your baby cannot manipulate you, because this goes back to they've only got the one part of their brain fully developed, the lizard brain, and in order to manipulate, they need 3 parts of your brain. Manipulation is a very it's quite a complex process. And in order to do that, you need 3 parts of your brain fully wired, and your baby's only got 1 survival brain. So it is completely natural. Crying, it's horrible hearing your little one cry. Quite often it can really trigger things in us, but crying is communication. It's very natural. It doesn't always mean there's something wrong, believe it or not, and it doesn't always mean that we need to fix it. But they're not manipulating you. If you put them down and they cry, they cry, and they stop when you pick them up. And things that can help your little one when they're crying are being in your arms. That can help massively. Rocking and swaying, because again, that reminds them of being in your womb. But the other one is white noise, because again, the white noise mimics the womb noise, and can remind them of your heartbeat and the blood swishing around. So a great tip during the day is, if your little one is unsettled during the day, which is very, very natural, whack on a bit of white noise. I feel very old, but I'm very old-fashioned. I was a nanny for 20 years. If you didn't know my background, and before white noise machines were invented, best invention ever, I could be found swaying near a washing machine or a hairdryer or under the cooker hood, trying to calm a crying baby. And the other one is white noise can really help with naps and sleep as well. And again, it's the same theory. Reminds them, white noise mimics womb noise, pays womb service to them, reminds them of being in the womb, gives them womb service, and can really help to settle them and calm them down to sleep. So white noise can be your friend in the 4th trimester. Again, there's no right or wrong on my approach, and I'm not anti anything, but I always prefer a white noise machine. You can pick them up really cheaply on Amazon. I would always recommend getting one that you can plug in rather than batteries, otherwise you're going to spend a fortune on batteries. But I would always recommend a white noise machine over a phone near your baby. I'm not a fan. I'm personally, as a grown-up, a very big grown-up, never carry my phone in my pocket or sleep with the phone next to my bed. And personally, again, I'm not qualified to say this at all, it's just personal opinion, I would much prefer to keep the phones away from them, even if they're in airplane mode, and have a little white noise machine instead. Next thing is not to worry about bad habits. So I don't believe in any bad bed habits at any age, but this is so true in the 4th trimester. It's so natural to worry, oh gosh, I'm holding them all the time, I'm spoiling them, or they're not napping in their cot, they won't go down, or I've got to get them to fall asleep by themselves. It's natural at this age for your little one to need a little bit of support to go to sleep, and it's completely natural to worry about setting up bad bed habits, rods for your own back. I personally don't believe there are any to make at any age, but this is definitely not the time to be making massive changes for them, because there's so much going on. And again, I'm not anti anything. Lots of people do decide to sleep train. For me, it will always come down to how it feels to parents, because I believe I've got expertise and experience, but parents are the experts, and I do believe that they know what their little ones need best. But even if you did decide to go down that route, the sleep trainers using that technique don't suggest to do it until 6 months. So yeah, as hard as it is, I would try not to worry about bad habits at this age. It's okay for your little one to nap in a sling and not nap in a cot. It's okay that you help your little one to sleep. It's okay if you rock them to sleep, cuddle them to sleep, feed them to sleep at any age, but especially at this age, if it's working for you, all is well. And if it does become, I don't believe there are issues at any age. I don't believe self-settling or self-soothing, I'll have to do another show on this, is the key to getting them to a settled night's sleep anyway. But if it did become something that you want to change later on down the line, there are things that you can do, simple things you can do to change that if you wanted to, when your little one and you are in a much more settled position to be able to do that. I think that's all I wanted to say with the 4th trimester. I hope that's really useful. I'm just going to go back and do like a little recap for you. And then once I've done that, I will sign off. So first thing is 4th trimester as a recap. 4th trimester is a massive period of change for your little one. The first 3 months of your little one's life, big adjustment, big change. It can be quite unsettled. Sleep can be quite erratic. It's completely knackering, but completely natural. Life inside the womb is very different to life outside of the womb, and helping your baby to feel settled, you can pay them womb service, white noise, keeping it dark, gentle swaying. The other thing is that sleep is very immature at this age. Circadian rhythm is very immature, so are the sleep cycles. They're sleeping, but it's very immature and very simple. One type of sleep, deep. They're not yet transitioning in and out of sleep. The most important thing for the 4th trimester is that you are getting to know your new baby's personality, getting to know your new baby, bonding and getting that feeding established however you're feeding. There's so much pressure to get your little one to nap, to get them on that sleep schedule, get them napping, getting them sleeping through the night, getting them settled at night. And trust me, I really want that for you too, but it does and it can come. And the 4 things that can really help with it at this stage for sleep is, number 1, try to teach them the difference between night and day. So during the day, keep it light, bright, chatty. Feeds are really social, curtains open, as much natural light as you can. Get them out for a walk if and when you're ready. And then at night, 100% needs need to be met at night time. 100% I believe that at any age, but meet those needs every single time they ask for it, but try to keep it dark, calm, quiet, hushed tones. Make eye contact, but try to avoid all singing, all dancing mummy and daddy in the middle of the night. And if you're changing their nappy, if they need a nappy change, I would try to do that before their feed rather than afterwards. Second thing is, try not to worry too much about getting them into that nap schedule. It's natural that they're naturally nocturnal. It's natural that they want to be close to you. They don't have to be in a cot to count. Nap routine, trying to get them into a nap routine when they're naturally nocturnal, it's like square peg, round hole, or the other way around. It can be very frustrating for very little gain. Those naps will come as they get older and pass through the 4th trimester, and I will put a link in the show notes for my free video which goes through the nap gaps from around 10 to 12 weeks. Third thing is white noise. White noise it's twofold really. One, it's natural that your little one cries and is unsettled at any age, but particularly in the 4th trimester. Life is very different, big period of adjustment for them. Crying is communication. Sometimes it can be so easy to forget that, and we get very reactive, which is completely natural, go into fight or flight mode ourselves, but try to breathe. Ask yourself, what's your baby trying to communicate to me? I think that's really helpful. And if your baby really is really unsettled, white noise can help them if they're particularly fretful or unsettled during the day. And white noise can also be really useful for sleep because white noise mimics womb noise. And then lastly, try not to worry, again, far easier said than done, but try not to worry too much about bad bed habits. Don't believe in bad bed habits at any age, but this is especially true in the 4th trimester. It's completely natural that your baby might need some support to get to sleep, or a lot of support to get to sleep. Your way is okay, so try not to worry about the bad habits, rods for your own back. You can't spoil your little one, they can't manipulate you, and it's completely natural that they might need a bit of help to nudge them into their sleep, whether that's feeding, cuddling, rocking. It's not a bad habit, and if and when you did want to change it, if and when, it's not an issue unless it's an issue for you, and it is rare that impacts the sleep anyway from my experience. Then you can change it afterwards, but when your little one is just a bit more settled and out of the 4th trimester. So I really, really hope you found that interesting, reassuring and informative. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye. Big love and sleep solidarity. Thank you so much for listening to me, your host, Kerry Secker, on the Kerry Out Sleep Show. I really hope you found the podcast reassuring, informative, and a little bit fun. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to the show below, and I'd be so grateful if you could leave me some fabulous feedback. I always love hearing from you, and one lucky listener will win lifetime access to my Bedtime Basics E-Course every single month. My next podcast episode will be out in 2 weeks' time, but if you can't wait for more of my sleep shizzle, you can find me over on Instagram at Kerry Out Sleep Consultant. I update my sleep squares and speak sleep there on the daily. Big love and sleep solidarity to you all.